Join me in painting another 5 dogs. The theme for these images are time of day. For the morning or sunrise, we've got the little Chihuahua. You might be wondering why I went with this weird kind of theme, and honestly, I just wanted to paint more dogs, but I also wanted to add different backgrounds. It's also a bit of a throwback to a series of bears I painted a few years back, where I did both a series of 4 seasons as well as day and night. But here I chose to extend the series to 5 times a day instead of just 2. After I completed this image, I realized I placed the sun in the wrong place, because I wanted the sun to drift from left to right in the series to help show the passing of the day. Anyway, the sun's placement was changed in Photoshop, which is why this footage is non-existent. The midday dog is the Xolo, or the Mexican hairless dog. While I was painting the series, I was also taking suggestions of dog breeds both from my amazing Patreon supporters and my Instagram followers. Xolo was one of their suggestions, and I actually hadn't heard of the breed before. This is why it's so much fun getting interactions from your community, because sometimes they throw you suggestions you'd never think about. Of course, there are other ways of finding new dog breeds, such as going through the prompt lists of dog-themed art challenges. There might be more, but the 2 I know of are Dogust, which takes place in August, and Dogcember, that takes place in December. I've taken part in both of these previously, but sadly, I haven't been able to participate the past few years. If you're an artist, are there any challenges you take part in? Feel free to leave them in the comments so I can check them out as well. In the afternoon and at sunset, we've got the Border Collie. This was a breed I really struggled with, and I actually ended up painting it again, but that version turned out to be even worse, which happens at times. I do encourage people and myself to have another go at things they're not happy with the first time round. However, from time to time, you don't end up any happier with the results, and that's okay. Not every painting I create is my favourite, and nor do I expect it to be. But I see every image I create as a chance to learn, and sometimes what I learn is done is better than perfect. Though sometimes it's also a reminder that repainting something right after completing it doesn't always give me enough time to reset and figure out what wasn't working in the first place. The dusk brings us the Husky. Originally, I thought of painting the Husky as the dog of winter for the previous series, because we all know that Huskies tend to really enjoy cooler seasons and snow. Though, as my choice fell on another dog for winter, I figured that dusk would work as well, because that's the time of day where things start to cool down. Despite getting suggestions from my Patreon supporters and my Instagram following, it was ultimately up to me what dog I picked for each of the seasons as well as time of day. Though as there are so many different dog breeds out there, I'm curious to know exactly what dogs you would pick. So feel free to drop a comment letting me know what dogs you would pick for each season, as well as which ones you'd pick for the different time of day. And finally, the dog for the night is the Akita. While the Akita was suggested to me by a follower, I also thought it would be a lot of fun to add it to the series, especially considering that I painted a Shiba Inu in the previous one. These two breeds often look similar, and I even know people who can't tell them apart. But what I haven't made clear about painting all of these dogs is that part of the point of doing this was to make sure that the viewer could differentiate between the different breeds. Though, now that I'm looking at all of them again, I also think it could be fun to see how much I could simplify further, maybe to the point where you can't tell some of the breeds apart. If you have any questions about my process, feel free to ask them in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer them there, or even mention them in a future video. Thank you so much for watching. More process videos are up on my YouTube channel, and you can find more of my work on my website and on social media.